So what do you think?
Oh my God, it looks so, the blues are so vivid. The restoration is a beautiful job.
It's gone.
What a magnificent piece. It really holds up over the years. Wow, it really is. You look at some of the other Pollocks, they don't have the depth, they don't have the field, they don't have the complexity, they don't have the vibrancy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in this morning. This is a very special occasion for us, and I'm introducing Patti Adler and her husband Pete. And as I think you know, Patti is the daughter of Ben Heller, the great dealer and collector of the New York School. And Patti grew up with this painting in the family apartment, and she hasn't seen it since it was crated up and hauled out of the apartment, and of course made its way to Australia in 1973. What it was like to grow up in an apartment with many of the artists in this space. In fact, there's Clifford Still, Motherwell, they were all in your father's collection, but over to you.
It was a privilege to grow up not just with art, but with great art. And to go to different museums and see art there and appreciate, and to read history or read historical novels, and then you see a piece of art that you know is from that time and was used in ceremonial use or in everyday use, and see it right there, and you feel the living breathingness of the history alive, and to live with that every day, it's a privilege. It was very hard as a child to see things leave. Nothing pained us worse than blue poles leaving the house. And when you talk to anyone in the family, they would say, oh, I remember the day that it left, because we had this family meeting the day before. We all assembled in the living room, and we went around the room, and everybody had a chance to say how they felt about it, how they felt about living with it, and how they felt about it leaving. And it was really moving and meaningful and hard. But it was exciting to see when the paintings would move, because the seven Santini brothers would come in, they would make a gigantic big crate. It was too big, of course, to go through the front door or in the elevator. In my previous home, when my father first bought his first painting, he and Jackson rolled it up, pulled the elevator down to the basement. They stood on the top of the elevator shaft with this rolled up painting, and they took it up, and it was too big to fit in the apartment. So then my dad says, I have to get a bigger apartment. In order to move these paintings out, they took the whole wall of our 10th floor apartment out on Central Park West, and they would put a hoist up on top of the roof, and they'd stop traffic on Central Park West and with these pulleys and ropes, and it looked like a circus with these guys with the pulleys and the ropes taking these things down to the road, because many of our paintings toured nationally. We were not really as aware in America of the public outrage that this piece sparked. The big news in America was the sales price. But one of the things that he talked to James Mollison about, and one of the reasons why he was eventually persuaded to sell it, was because he was very instrumental in fighting with the artists for their role internationally as a movement.
Sure, I understand.
And so he felt like the deal that he made with James was that Australia would take it and make it into something. And he said last week that the way Australia has made blue poles a national treasure, he felt like the NGA held up their end of the bargain.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so he was happy.
Yeah.
He was lucky to be one of the first people to appreciate this kind of art and to become close to these artists through the passion that he obviously had, and to be able to buy these things when he was in his 20s. And to go into debt so badly to buy these things that his parents, who were handing over their family business to him, said, are we really doing a smart thing? This guy's a risk taker. Maybe we shouldn't do this. So he was very, very young, and young to be friends with these artists who are older than him. It's got such a vibrancy, and the colors are so bold and beautiful, and the contrast between the strength of the poles and the delicacy of the filigree and the depth of texture of the many layers and the extent to which the entire canvas is covered in work, and I imagine it lying on the floor, because when he painted it on the floor so that he could feel closer to it, so that he was drawn into it. And so imagine what this would look like if you were walking around it from all the different sides and being drawn into it, because there's nature, there's power, and there's essence. I think these artists push themselves to go beyond the figurative representations of previous generations and to reach into their souls to feel something, and I think that people who look at it feel that.